Okay, it's the KPFT 50th reunion. I'm Frank Martin. I was sort of a guy, hi there, hanging around, and here's Jenifer Palmer. Say hello.
Hello. That's my Deadwood resident radio voice.
You were Mandy in the morning.
I was Mandy in the morning.
And that was here at 618 Prarie in those years?
Yes, I started out here. I actually walked up to 618 Prarie from where I was working down at a title company, and I brought my little cassette. And I said, I've got this great idea for a show, the Palmer Sisters, and we'll do a vintage radio show, recreate a vintage radio show. And Mike August was there and Glenn English was there, and they said, okay. And they said, we'll produce that for you if you go over to my house, which I did.
Glenn English was the chief engineer, designer. He designed those studios, got all those fancy AKG microphones, the famous stereo yard, Gates tube-type stereo yard board. Remember that board?
Yeah. Anyway.
Right. There's another story about that.
I'm sure there is. But all I had to do was get a third phone and be able to take readings and talk, and 2 turntables and a microphone, and you had it.
Turntables, that's somebody's hit song. Yeah, a third phone, for those from this century, a third phone is a third-class radio telephone license with broadcast endorsement, which was required to operate a broadcast transmitter in 1973, is that right?
Yeah, I started in 71 with the radio show, and it was on Ampex tapes that we brought in, and
right.
Mike August would edit them, and then we get them ready for the air, and we did that for a year and a half or so, and then there was a strike.
Was that Pacifica staff?
Yeah, there was somebody brought in that they didn't like, and then when they fired him, they decided they liked him, and everybody went on strike.
And that's all you remember. That's all I don't. There have been so many Pacifica strikes and things, and so much.
It was a big strike. Well, it was big for me because I always wanted to do the morning show, and when everybody went on strike, they wouldn't cross the picket line. So somebody said, you could do the morning show now if you want to. And I didn't want to go on the air and tell them I was Jenny Palmer from the Palmer Sisters, because that would have been being a scab. That would be strike breaking. So I went on with a different identity, and that was the identity I had for the rest of the time I was there.
Mandy in the morning.
Mandy in the morning.
And that's a play on words. It's old man depression.
Yes, it was.
I was there, and I filled in for you many, many times when, for one reason or other, you couldn't come in.
Oh, well, and Mike August also. Mike August would put Beatles and Beach Boys on all the time. It was all Beatles and Beach Boys. And Bobby Yance filled in for a few times. I went on a vacation in 1976, and I don't know who was there.
I remember playing Joe Walsh records, filling in for you one morning. I don't know.
Oh, he's a nice fellow.
It's something I picked out. It was all my fault, but that's...
He is a nice fellow. Never mind Joe Walsh. We're not dropping any names because, we're not dropping any names. No.
A record I remember running out of the group when I... when I came up from Texas City High School. I'm Texas City High class of 72, and you were here in Houston, though, right?
Yeah, we went to, my sisters and I went to Westbury. And I graduated in 65 and went to Idaho, and when I came back, I ended up being on the air, because we had been bombed off the air once, and they were looking for people to fill in for the shows that they had lost when they were bombed off the air the first time. So that's how the Palmer Sisters happened. And then as soon as the Palmer Sisters started, the very first show we did, October 6, 1970, they were bombed off the air again.
Right, yes, quite famously.
So anyway, our shows were already in the can. We had 6 shows already made, so we didn't have to do any more work. And I was in New Orleans, so I stayed in New Orleans until we fixed the transmitter and we got back on the air.
Fascinating. It's stunning. I remember it vividly. Anything else that you can think of before we wrap this up?
No, it was one of the happiest times of my life.
The crab cakes and mushrooms. That's what we're thinking.
Okay, well then, and then the restrooms too.
All righty.
Okay.
That's
you,
it.
Frank.
Jenifer Palmer, old Mandy in the morning.
Okay.